Hello everybody, I'm just letting you know that this is actually part 2 of the first chapter of this retrospective series. Part 1 will be in the description below via link, and if you haven't checked out part 1, please do before you continue. Also, there will be spoilers. This will be covering the second half of the game, so just a heads up there. So for those who have not seen it, please stop by and watch part 1, and for those who have already seen part 1, welcome back. Thank you. So, you made it halfway through Halo 1, huh? Been a lot of alien slaying and ooh-rah resistance, right? Well, let's spice up the experience a little, shall we? 343 Guilty Spark, Level 6. You're trying to rendezvous with Captain Keyes after Cortana was losing her shit over something in Halo's control room. Apparently, there's something up with Halo that even the Covenant didn't know about, so you start in this swamp. And off the bat, you can tell something is off. A crashed Pelican, yes, but even a Covenant dropship? Those fucking things never fall. Covey forces fleeing for their lives, acting in ways they've never done with UNSC troops. You're moving and, what the fuck was that? Allies on the motion detector? Bullet fire, is that Keyes, perhaps? Wait, why are you guys pointed that way? I'm coming from over here. Oh. Why the jackal got grunt blood? Or what's with all the blood, rather? You green and bodies. You come across a Marine that's been mortified by whatever happened within these walls.
Stay back! Stay back! You're not turning me into one of those things! I'll blow your brains out! Get away from me! Don't touch me, you freaks! I won't be like you, I'll die first! Find your own hiding place, the monsters are everywhere! Play dead! That's what I did. Play dead. They took the live ones. Oh God, I can still hear them. Monsters!
And as you make your way further into this facility, you slowly start piecing together that something has gone horribly wrong.
Bad feeling about something.
What's going on, soldier?
He's got contact! Blast them! They're not coming! They're just tearing through us! What the... Oh, no!
Corporal! Do you copy? Over!
And then, you meet them. Devils. Monsters. This is where we meet the faction that's a fan favorite, infinitely more so than the Prometheans, the Flood. This infestation, this parasite, turns the game on its head in a good way, in my opinion. Where so far you've had a clashing of military forces, you now have an onslaught of zombie-like creatures. Where there was more taking cover and firing before, you have the Horde seeking you out wherever you may roam. You shoot out a single fuck bullet and they will swarm you. People may call them boring or shitty, but I do believe they have their own positive influence on the gameplay. It brings about a sense of urgency that you likely didn't experience with the Covenant. For them, it's like, we're gonna tactically outsmart you. But for the Flood, it's like, bring us that ass. They're an all-consuming force that the Covenant probably made an oopsies and unleashed. And now you're stuck down here with them.
I gotta get out of here!
You traverse your way out of this Well, shit, there goes the exit. You traverse your way out of this facility. The bodies you once saw vanished, now replaced with these abominations of rotted flesh and contorted body parts. These little forms are quick to dispose of, but a ton of them can take away your shields and start eating away at your health if you're not careful. You make your way up to the top and some Marines are there, terrified for their lives, as these things have killed and transformed their comrades. Oh hey, Johnson's there too! So more likely than not, you end up alone in the swamp, fighting off these absolute monstrosities until you start seeing yellow dots coming in. What the hell are these? These are the Sentinels, led by this little blue fuck 343 Guilty Spark, the monitor of what he calls Installation 04. That's this thing, by the way. That's the big fuck thing, the hula hoop. Yeah, that's installation 04. Through him, you learn a little bit more about the Flood, as you're put through the gauntlet of the infamous mental stability test. La biblioteca. Okay, so this level can be difficult, but it's not as hard as it is grindy. The repetitive dark corridors of the library make it feel longer than it actually is. Also, just about any experienced Halo player will recognize the shit hits the fan room. And through all this, you get the monitor's dialogue, which gives you different exposition about the Flood, and tells you how ill-equipped you are, which kinda gives you that ominous sense of, hey, I really shouldn't be down here.
Puzzling. You brought such ineffective weapons to combat the Flood, despite the containment protocols.
And while I do agree that it's very repetitive in design, as are a few of the levels admittedly in certain parts, I do feel like it serves its purpose well. The purpose of which is making you want to get through each door as quickly as fucking possible. At the center of the library, at the end of the level, is the index, or the T key, which is used to activate Halo, which exterminates the Flood, according to Blue Balls over here. But what he leaves out, and what your AI GF reveals to you when you see her again, is that it actually wipes out all sentient life in the galaxy, basically doing a factory reset, stripping the Flood of its food sources, and rendering it incapable of spreading, thus starving it to death.
Left out that little detail, did he?
Fucking whoops. So you can't turn the big ring on, because that's almost as bad as letting these nasty bastards leave the ring. But now Floaty Fuck is not happy with you, so he's gonna take the T key from you and figure out where he can get somebody else to turn on the Space Funyun. Wait, it gets worse. That's pretty on point there, game. That's pretty accurate to the things that are unveiling here. And this leads to some of my favorite levels in the game. I mean, they're all great, but Two Betrayals, especially Keys, and definitely the Maw, are some of my favorites. Now you might be saying, but Gabe, those are deadass the revisitings of previous levels, rehashing shit from earlier. Perhaps. But consider this. It is the transformative nature of these levels that make them so great. Maybe it is retreading the previous settings, but they sure as hell aren't what they used to be. We went from Covenant-fortified defenses with some stranded UNSC troops in assault on the control room to those very same defenses crumbling as opposing forces clash in the night in Two Betrayals. We went from a flying fortress caked with aliens and their armaments in the Truth and Reconciliation to a crashed mess with coolant oozing and parasites all over the place in Keys. The Pillar of Autumn, the horse you rode in on, went from a starship full of UNSC forces to a charred, broken husk, with everything but humans roaming its corridors in the Maw. And that type of shit is fucking cool, man, especially Two Betrayals. You take banshees and ghosts and maybe the warthog in the canyon in an attempt to disable the monitor's ability to activate Halo. In this level, all four opposing forces collide in a true test of your skill as the player. The Covenant, the Flood, the Sentinels, and in the form of you, the player, the Master Chief, the UNSC. Each enemy has their strengths and weaknesses that you've learned up to this point, and you alternate between them all as you go. I believe it is the most satisfying level in terms of delivering a fair challenge. For the most part. You saw a couple in the library, but these fuckers are all over the place here. The Rocket Launcher Flood. These guys are the bane of no death runs. One wrong move or miscalculation and you're fucked. Where is he? I don't fucking see him. I know there's another one on here, unless I killed him already. Oh shit! Oh. He hasn't noticed me, but my time and options are limited. I could try to shoot him with my pistol, but I might not drop him in time before he launches a rocket. And if one of the infection forms get in the way, I might not shoot him at all. I could switch to my shotgun and try to get him at the next jump, but that leaves a few more seconds of opportunity for him to get me. But I gotta make a decision. Gotta make it quick, before he knows I'm here. Fuck it. I gotta do it. Fuck! Although you can quickly dispatch of them if you know where they are, and it's only really a big issue if they're really close. Otherwise, the level provides challenges that can still be overcome. Two Betrayals, I can comfortably say, from my point of view, is the most difficult level in Combat Evolved, but that's also what makes it one of the most fun for me. Vehicle segments, factions fighting each other, it's magnificent, man. And Final Run is one of my favorite moments in the entirety of the game. You deactivate the monitor's galaxy cleansing abilities, and now you gotta get the keys from Keys to kaboom the Pillar of Autumn and destroy the Space Funyun. Enter the level Keys. The shitstorm has reached its peak. Absolute chaos as you try and find your captain, who doesn't sound like he's having a Baja Blast over comms. The Flood collects bodies in the corners. The Covenant in shambles trying to kill the Flood so they can fucking leave, but they can't. You find Keys and oh no, you're not looking too good, my man. And now the Covenant have brought out their strongest forces to remove the Flood from the ship. The Grunts packing only fuel rod cannons and needlers, no plasma pistols. And these elites can throw grenades. They are the exception to the grunt grenade rule, and they're fucking terrifying because of that. As you make your way off of this ship and onto this one, these Spec Ops Covey forces will be the only Covey forces you face from here on out, with the exception of some hunters. Now you're at the Maw, the grand finale, and I must say it all goes full circle with this level. You once traveled these halls learning the ins and outs of combat, and now you roam these corridors alone, with anything else in them trying to kill you. Not a Marine in sight, you are humanity's only hope, and failure is not an option. This shithead tries to foil your plans, but the chief says, oh no. Fuck you, sir, and makes the Pillar of Autumn's engines go critical. This bad boy is set to blow, and now you have one final mission. You clear the elevator and ruin an elite's dreams of ending your life. Those who read the books, you might know who I'm talking about. And go on a hell of a ride on the Warthog. The timer starts, and you begin to run the gauntlet. I fucking love this segment. Jumps and turns on the Warthog as you splatter enemies left and right with your fucking bumper. It's just so satisfying. Cortana has been talking over comms, and Echo 419 Foehammer is still alive, your Pelican pilot, and she's coming to pick you up.
Cortana to Echo 419. 2 Covenant Banshees are approaching on your 6. Evade. Say again, evade. I'm hit. Mayday. What the hell? I can't hold on.
And this is where it hits hard. All these losses that have been endured. As Cortana said, this war has had enough dead heroes, and their sacrifices can't be in vain. And said sacrifices live on in your survival. You, the player, are the last hope for their efforts to truly be brought to fruition. The strongest aspect of Halo here shines like 1,000 fucking suns. Presentation. When it comes to the presentation of what's inside its games, Halo is the fucking king. You are driving at top speed, rushing to a launch bay for the one final longsword ship. Explosions riddle the pathways and trenches. The music swells as you make a leap of faith over a massive gap, and there's a little Easter egg grunt, and he's pretty funny.
Good thing that fool was waiting for me at the starship, cause man, if I worked up a big, grunty thirst.
You crash the Warthog, jump out of it, and sprint to your salvation, narrowly escaping the clutches of Flood fuckery behind you, and with a short startup and quick takeoff, you launch out of orbit and escape the Pillar of Autumn. And with that, you've done it. You've accomplished your mission, and you've completed Halo Combat Evolved. You take a look back at the devastation behind you. It's not the end. Hell, it's only the beginning. But for now, you live to fight another day. Now, I'll admit, this game is not perfection incarnate. You'd be hard-pressed to find a game, or anything, that is truly perfect. The game's got flaws. As I mentioned before, repetition is noticeable. Not just in the copy-pasting of rooms, but even in recycling of level layouts too. That's understandable. The checkpoint system for your progression in levels can be finicky, yeah. One run-through won't be the same as the other. But the shortcomings of Combat Evolved were mostly on account of that one adversary, time. But the list of flaws is pretty short, and it makes up for it in spades, in droves, whatever fucking word. It makes up for it with the delivery of the gameplay and presentation of the story. While Master Chief and the other characters aren't necessarily deep, I mean, they're about as deep as a fucking puddle when you really look at them, the competence of Halo storytelling lies in the setting, the atmosphere, the experience. The journey the player goes on rather than who they're controlling with the fuck controller. It's not who is Master Chief, it's what is Master Chief doing. And he's doing some really awesome shit in this game. Because Halo, at its absolute core, is about that heroism, that journey we all go on as players, developing our skills so that we can kick ass again and again, whether that be in multiplayer or in the campaign. It's what makes these memories stick with us, and what makes Halo Combat Evolved a grade A, chef's choice kind of game. People to this day still say that the other titles don't quite match up to the legacy left by the first in line.
Halo. It's finished.
No. I think we're just getting started.
And after this, the world would always debate what constitutes the Halo experience. And something on the horizon would add even more to consider just a few years later. This has been Papa Gabe, and thanks for watching. Until next time. Thank you all so very much for watching. I really appreciate you going to the end of this, watching these parts. It really means a lot. I am very excited to work on this project leading up to Halo Infinite's release. If you liked what you saw, please feel free to hit that like button and maybe subscribe along the way. Maybe share with your peers. It'd be pretty dope. I do have a Discord and a Twitter. If you would like to follow those, join those, and keep up to date on my activities. I also have a Patreon. Special thanks to all of my patrons. I appreciate you so much. And if you're inclined to join the Patreon, I will leave the link in the description below as well. Let me know what you thought about the video. If you want to talk Halo, please feel free to exchange your thoughts about Halo in the comments section. And let me know whether or not I should split Chapter 2 into 2 parts. Not sure about that part. Anyways, thank you again. Until next time.